Here is the Crescendo Music Education Podcast, episode number 56. This podcast is being recorded on the lands of the Turrbal people. I acknowledge them as the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. They were the first music makers on this land. Hello, Debbie O'Shea here for another Crescendo Music Education podcast. Now, I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I just had to choose an area that I could go sort of a mile deep and an inch wide. And if you've listened to my episode 2 and episode 8, that will sort of make sense to you because I'm going to talk about batching the melodic elements. Now, when I say batching, I'm not talking about batching your teaching so that you're only teaching these melodic elements. I'm talking about batching your planning and collecting all of your wonderful creative ideas and storing them for easy access so that when you're planning your lessons, you want to be able to practice some known melodic elements in a different way, in an exciting way. And I thought, I'm just going to pick something. I've picked the Do pentatonic scale, just as an example. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to look at ways that you can practice the Do pentatonic scale that might just be a little bit different to sing these notes with me. Okay, so we're talking about singing the scale and how we can practice it. So it's actually quite specific, but it's really important that we do this a lot so that the motifs and the intervals all just become part of the students' working memories. So if you haven't listened to episode 2, that's when I talk about the concept behind batching your planning. It's worth having a listen to that, I think, to give you some background. And in episode 8, I give you an example of digging down a mile deep and an inch wide, looking at batching, working out activities to practice rhythmic elements. So here we go. We're going to talk about this now. I numbered them. 32, right? So if you're into numbers, I'm going to whiz through. It's actually not going to be a long episode, but I am going to talk about 32 ways that you can practice the Do pentatonic scale. Now, of course, you can take these concepts, many of them, and apply them to different scale types or a more limited range of notes. So, take the ideas, use them in whatever context you're in. Don't panic about finding a pen and paper. If you're new to the Crescendo Music Education Podcast, you may not know that there are some really good show notes at crescendo.com.au. And also, we have a fabulous production called Read the Episode, where the transcript is turned into a blog post. I started doing this. My beautiful Katrina does that for me. And I started doing it and I thought, is this worth the time and the money? And I asked some of my Crescendo community, and quite a few people said, I just much prefer reading it than listening. So I guess I'm catering for different learning styles. I'm much more a listener myself, but it's beautifully laid out in a Read the Episode. So you can read all 32 of these, some of which really should be sort of sub-dot points, but I still thought I'm going to number them out. So let's go. 32 ways that you can practice the Do pentatonic scale. Get them in a list somewhere so that when you're ready to do planning and you need to practice this scale, you can have a look through and say, I haven't done it that way for a while. So here we go. Number 1, sing the scale ascending. Some of them are very, very much obvious, but we're going to go through them anyway. 2, sing the scale descending. so they can be done separately. 3, they can sing the scale ascending and descending, which is the way I get a little bit stuck there. We need to practice it. Let's just sing it up and down, done. Number 4, you could sing the top note, repeat it when you go up, or you could just sing it this time without repeating the top note. It changes it quite dramatically depending if you repeat the top note or not. Number 5, you can sing it in canon in 2 groups. The second part beginning when the first part starts on me. This works lovely, going up there, up and down. I like getting the first group to hold the do while the second group joins them. Number 6, sing in canon in 3 or 4 groups. Much more difficult. And of course, all of these start out with the teacher being one of the groups. So teacher versus class, and then, make it more difficult. Then you can perform in canon, this is number 7, in smaller groups, pairs, or individuals, singing in canon in 2-part canon, 3-part canon, 4-part canon, any of those things. Number 8, sing in canon while hand signing the second part. So start with teacher versus class, and then divide the class into 2 groups. So swap the parts so that the students sometimes have to hand sign first and sometimes have to sing first. This is really advanced, but it's very good for the students to at least try. We all know that we grow when we work in our discomfort zone. Not too far in our discomfort zone, just a bit in it. Okay, so we do that. So you're hand signing the other part, the part you're not singing. Number 9, we actually sing and show the canon with hand signs, but nobody is singing the second part. This leads the children to inner hear the part that's not heard. And of course, swap. So you want the hand sign to go first sometimes and then the singing. That one's loads of fun, number 9. Number 10, sing with a pedal point. So try doing do, and then you can try so as well. Do is my favourite for that. You can play or sing the pedal point. You can perform it in 2 groups, small groups, individuals. The teacher can hold the pedal point. There's just a lot you can do with that. What this does is it really helps their intonation. It helps them to hear the intervals really clearly, and to sing together as a group better, I think. So singing with a pedal point, number 10. So even that one, you can play around with that, get several out of the 1 point, the pedal point. 1 point, pedal point. Okay, back to business, Debbie. 11. Okay, this next lot is a little group, which I numbered separately, even though they could have been sub-points, but just the number's more impressive if they're numbered separately. So 11, sing with a rhythmic ostinato that is given by the teacher. So fairly straightforward. Give them a rhythmic ostinato, they perform that and sing. They could also sing with a rhythmic ostinato that is read from flashcards as they're performing. That's much more difficult. Sing with a rhythmic ostinato that's read from flashcards, and you change the card every now and then at various intervals as the scale is sung. You need to sing the scale repeatedly to do this, to feel the ostinato really working with the scale, and then change the flashcard. Fabulous. Keep them on their toes. You could also sing with a rhythmic ostinato that's created orally by the students. Get them to make something up, away you go. Next person, make up one. We'll do this one. So that was 14. 15, sing with a rhythmic ostinato that is written by the students. See, that's quite different to just getting them to create it on the spot, almost improvise, do it orally. Get them to write them on little mini whiteboards and hold up their whiteboard. Let's do this one. So get them to write their ostinato. Sing with a rhythmic ostinato that's performed in 2 or 3 groups, with each group reading a different flashcard as the ostinato. You could even use the ones that the students have written. It doesn't have to be a beautifully produced flashcard or a Google slide or whatever. Get the kids, these ones that the children have written, get them to stand in front of a group, and each group performs a different ostinato while they're singing the scale together. Could sound really fabulous. Sing while performing the ostinato in any of the ways listed above on untuned percussion instruments. Okay, imagine that last one with 2 or 3 groups performing different ostinati, and each group has a different instrument. So this group's performing with claves, this one's got bells, this one, it could just be really amazing, a lovely layered piece of music. And it's the pentatonic scale, the do pentatonic scale. How amazing. So yes, add those untuned percussion instruments. 18, here's my next little batch that really, it goes under melodic ostinato. So first, you could sing with a melodic ostinato, such as do, so, do, teacher versus class. So the teacher performs the ostinato, class sings the scale, then swap. You could also do a melodic ostinato with half class, then go to small group, pairs, individuals, singing that teacher created melodic ostinato. So going down to make it smaller groups and more difficult. That's 19. 20, sing with half the class, small group, pairs, individuals, again going down, singing a student created melodic ostinato where they just create it orally. They just devise it on the spot, teach it to their class, and away we go. You can also do the same thing, and this is 21, singing a student created melodic ostinato, but they have to write it. So they work out the rhythm that they want, the notes they want, and it's a really good create activity. We can see some will sound better than others. Let's give them a go and work out why some sound better than others. It's a great activity on composition and improvisation. All right, more melodic ostinati. 22, we could sing with half class, small group, whatever you're doing, but they're reading a melodic flashcard as the ostinato. So you can do this as literally a card that you flash, or a little PowerPoint, however, Google Slides, however you do that, but they're actually reading the ostinato. The next one, 23, is changing the cards as they're performing the scale repeatedly. Now, I know you're probably saying to yourself, Debbie, you're saying the same things as you said for rhythmic ostinati. You're now basically saying for melodic ostinati. Yes, I am, because I think sometimes we forget. We go, yeah, we'll stick in an ostinato. Yeah, but look at all of these different ways that you can do an ostinato with the scale. It changes the whole task. Okay, so I'm deliberately saying this. And then there's singing, dividing the class into 2 or 3 groups, with each group reading a different flashcard as the ostinato, as their ostinato for that group. And we do that at the same time. And imagine you could play around with that, layering it in. It would make for a beautiful performance, actually. And 25, it's all of those melodic ostinato ideas, but add tuned percussion instruments. So there you go, just all of those. There's so many things you can do. Add them onto those instruments. That's 25. All right, 26. Letter names. So you've got C, G, and F, or C, F, G. Straight away, which you've got your white notes, you've got no sharps or flats, and go ahead and do it in letter names. 27, of course, more advanced students, you can sing letter names, including sharps and flats. Start on D. Does that sound right? What do we need? Okay, so sing it in letter names with sharps and flats. So a sharp is adding an is, so F becomes fees, and a flat is S, like B becomes Bess. So you can sing in letter names with sharps and flats. You can play, we just didn't even mention this yet, and we're up to 28. Play the scale on tuned percussion. Like, duh. 29, you can actually play on boom whackers. I really like doing this. Just one child on a tube sitting in pitch order. And you just play the scale up and down, and they will love to do that. You can have each one just playing even each note, play on a rhythm as they go up and down. You could just have so much fun there, and they're all dying to grab a boom whacker, aren't they? I like sitting them cross-legged on the floor and hitting the tube on the carpet, but you can have them standing, hitting on their hands, whichever way you prefer to play your boom whackers. Number 30, sing with intervals. I think this is really important for your oral development. Sing the intervals of the consecutive notes first. No, re, major, second, re, mi, major, second, mi, sol, minor, third, etc. Obviously, ascending, descending, and it just adds that automaticity. Hey, that's a good word, isn't it? Automaticity. Is it a word? I think so. And obviously helps their oral memory and teaches them the sound of the intervals. So if they are somewhere and they hear do, do, major, second, do, re. Okay, so it helps. Believe me, I know as an adult when I first learned this way, it all just made sense to me. And I know that for oral skill development, singing intervals was just a game changer. 31, sing the intervals from do. So, do, and I'm sorry, I'm a bit croaky today. Do, re, major, second, do, mi, major, third, do, sol, perfect fifth, etc. So from do, because you're getting a whole lot of different intervals there. And don't forget 32, sing intervals from top do. It's important to do descending intervals, and also you get different intervals descending, obviously, than ascending. From top do descending, you will get different intervals. So I hope you've sort of kept track of my odd 32. Maybe I should have got rid of two of them, so I could have just said 30. I like my round numbers, but anyway, I didn't. You've got 32 different ways that you can practice your do pentatonic scale as an example of where you might be up to in your teaching of pitch elements. I hope that you've got some ideas out of that. Remember, you can find the list on crescendo.com.au in the show notes under podcast. And I really would love to hear from you. If you want to send me an email, info@crescendo.com.au. Let me know what you liked about this. I'm sure there's many more that we could add, but I thought 32 was enough for one episode. So I will talk to you next episode. Bye. As we know, laughter relieves stress. Don't lose sight of the funny side of life. Here's a question for you. Which country's capital has the fastest growing population? Well, the answer is Ireland, because every day it's Dublin. Thank you so much for watching our Crescendo Music Education podcast. For more information about all things crescendo, including membership and music education resources, visit us at crescendo.com.au. Don't forget to like and subscribe.